Okay, here we go with the FRQ 5. This was our February 14th assignment. We're going to do this in about 15 minutes. We're going to be following my steps to success. So let's do it. Step 1, notice the key. E flat major. Step 2, notice the key signature. 3 flats here on the grand staff. Most important step, step 3, do the chord stack and the chord matrix. I'm going to do it in treble clef and bass clef, but you don't have to do both. You can just pick one. So this one, I'm going to do my thirds, stacking the snowmen. I'm going to leave a little space so that I can write in the names of the notes, which is really going to help me. This one I'm going to drop down for that C chord, just like that. Down at the bottom here, I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do it a little faster. Okay, so I'm just going to do these little slashes like this. This one I'm going to drop down right here. And you can see, oh yeah, that's right. And you can see how this is a little bit faster probably than writing in the circles. And I'm just going up just like this. I'm kind of talking and doing it at the same time. This one, I think I'm going to keep going here. We'll do the C chord there. And I think this one we can just do that. So we can just do it like that. Great. So that's our chord stack. Now we're just going to write in the Roman numerals. So that's the 1 chord. That's the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. And I did make sure that my 1, 4, and 5 are major and my 2, 3, 6, 7 are minor because we're in a major key. Okay, excellent. Now, just for fun, I'm just going to add in the notes, E flat, G, B flat, just for the 1 chord. And let's do the 5 chord. So here's our B flat, D, F. I'm going to add the A flat up top in case we need that. And then let's do a 6 chord. So C, E flat, G. And then let's just add our 7th on the 2 chord in case we need that one. These are just some chords where we might see that 7th, chordal 7th in there. We might see it on the 7th chord too. Okay, great. So now we pretty much have our outline. We have our 1. We can do the 4 chord. Let's do A flat, C, E flat. I don't know if we need that one on this one, but 1, 4, 5, 6. Those are the main chords basically. Might need to do the 2 chord. Might need to do the 7. We're not sure yet. Let's figure it out. Okay, inversion hotline. These are the triads. These are the 7th chords. If there's nothing listed, it's a root position triad. So we're going to start filling that in right now. So here's our nothing listed E flat, key of the E flat. So that's our 1 chord. And we're just going to pull these notes here from the 1 chord right up to that box. We see the example there. Excellent. Okay, that's a D. It's a 6 below it. So that means it's a first inversion triad. So the root, I'm going to just pencil it in here so you can see it. The root's going to be B flat. Right here, the B flat root is the 5 chord. So we're going to put a 5 there. And then we're going to take these 3 notes, because it's just a triad, because it's a 6, first inversion triad, B flat, D, F, and we're going to put them right up here. And then these are the notes that are going up here. We already have the D, so we're going to check that one off. Next one, that's a C. Here's our C right here. That's a 6 chord. So we're just going to take those notes and pop them right in there. C, E flat, G. We already have the C in the bass. We'll check it off. Okay, now we're going to go back to that inversion hotline. This is a 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. So it's the 4, 3. Root, first, second inversion. So in our minds, we're going to think 1, 2, snowmen down. That's the note right there. That's an F in the bass. That one I penciled in. So this is going to be our 2 chord. Oh, and I forgot to write in the 6 over here. So I'm going to make sure I got a major 1, major 5, minor 6, minor 2. 2 chord. Oh, look, so we didn't fill it in. Let's add the notes. F, A flat, C. And we are going to need that E flat because it's the 7th chord. F, A flat, C, E flat. Good, now we're just going to pause here for 1 second And we're going to start to think about our rules of resolution. Okay, so any seventh chord, the seventh of the chord must resolve down. So here we have our first seventh. We're going to have to plug in this E flat, and we're going to be looking for it to resolve down. Okay, just keep that in mind as we go forward. All right, this is a 1-6-4. We know that because that's a B flat. Here's our triad, B flat, G, E flat. So that's a 1, major 1. And we're just going to copy in those notes. And B flat. And we're going to check off the one that's there already, which is the B flat. Okay, here's a seventh chord. It's a root position seventh, so we know that B flat, we saw that already with the 5 chord, is right here. So that's a 5-7. And we're going to need that 4 chord tones. B flat, D, F, A flat. And then we're going to be looking for that A flat. Remember those rules of resolution. Any seventh chord, the seventh of the chord must resolve down. So we're going to be looking for that A flat to resolve down. And it's probably going to go to a G because this next chord is a 6 chord. Just like this one, it's the same note. There's no inversion. So we know it's a 6 chord, C, E flat, G. So that A flat will in fact resolve down to a G. That's what we're going to have up in there somewhere. What does just depends on what voice it is. All right, so we're doing really great. We've used about a little less than half of our time. We got our Roman numerals. Those are perfect. We did our chord matrix snowman stack, and we did the chord tone checkoff list. Make sure that these are in root position when you put them in there. Just like they were down here, you just move them up. And it's a nice way to check it off. Don't put this as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 chord. Don't do it that way. If you see a 1 chord, you just pull up the notes from the 1 chord. We did that twice. If you see a 5 chord, you just pull up the notes from the 5 chord, making sure to add that chordal 7th if it is a 7th chord. Same thing with this 2 chordal, it's a 2, 4, 3, so that means it's a 7th chord. And then there's the 6th chord, which is just a triad. Okay, now we're going to complete all the soprano notes using contrary motion, then oblique motion as much as possible. You want to get the outer voices first, bass and soprano, before adding the next notes. Okay, so let's do it. I'm noticing bass line's moving down, so my soprano line's going to move up. And going from this G, the next note higher is a B flat. So I'm going to check off the B flat. And I'm going to drop it right in on that soprano note. That's perfect. Okay, bass line moves down again, so I want my soprano line to go up. The next note higher that I could go to is a C. So that's also dropping in right there. Perfect. I'm going to check off these notes as I add them in. So I have 2 C's here. I have a B flat and a D there. This shows me what I have and what I need to add in as I go back for the alto and the tenor part. Okay, great. Bass note is now staying the same. So my soprano note doesn't have to go up and it doesn't have to go down. In fact, it should probably go down. It should not stay the same because that would be a parallel octave. C to C should not be matched with a C to C. So I'm going to bring it down. And I was on a C, and I'm looking at this chart here. And so the next note down is going to be this A flat. So I can put that in right there. Okay, great. And now we're moving back to the 1 chord. This is a 1-6-4. And so I will be noticing the bass motion going down. So I'm going to bring my soprano up. And I see I'm on an A flat. So I can easily move up to the B flat and achieve that contrary motion, which resolves most of the voice leading issues. Okay, great. Bass note stays the same. Soprano note should not stay the same. I'm just going to bring it down and sort of follow what I did before here because I see that there's an A flat here. So if I bring it down to an A flat, there's my chordal 7th, and then I'm going to bring that down to a G. So I've achieved that voice leading rule of resolution, which was the chordal 7th moving down. Great, so we're well on our way here. All we have to do is go back and add in the chords that we didn't check. Here, let me check off some of these. So we got that one in there, we got the A flat in there, and then we got the B flat, that's actually in there twice. Perfect. And then I think we have a C in here. I don't know why this, oh, that's A flat. Yep, and we got the C in the bass. So it always helps to go back and check which notes did I put in, which notes do I still need to use. I should have 2 checks in each box because I have a bass and a soprano. 2 checks, 2 checks, 2 checks, 2 checks. A flat, and let's get that B flat in the bass. 2 checks off there. G and C. So everything I'm doing, I'm double checking as I go. Okay, excellent. So there's one more rule of voice leading that we'll add in. I can see where it's going to be right here. This is when the 5 goes to a 1, T resolves upward to Do. So my D here is going to resolve up to E flat. Probably that's going to be in the alto. I doubt we're going to put it down here. So we could actually just add it in now, but I'll wait a little bit just to make sure. But I'm already thinking that I'm going to end on E flat, D, E flat in the alto part. Okay, and then that'll be nice for my tenor part. All right, so let's go. We have about like 3.5 minutes left. Let's finish this thing up. Going back to the checkoff sheet, we're going to complete the alto and tenor voices at the same time, keeping in the voice leading ideas, which are all listed here. Here's that first rule, here's that second rule in red, and then we're going to be good to go. So let's finish it out. Okay, so my alto's on an E flat, bass is going down, therefore soprano and alto might want to go up. And look, I have my E flat, I can bring it up to the F, which is listed right there. That's a great option. Check off the F. Then I need to add a tenor note in here, and I'm just going to double the root because it's already on a B flat. We're moving to a 5 chord, doubling the root there with the soprano and the tenor. That's a great option too. All right, let's keep going. 6 chord, we need C, E flat, G. I already have 2 C's up there, so I need an E flat and a G. Now, this one, I think my E flat is going to be the alto note here, because that's a pretty close note. And then this tenor part's going to jump down and pick up that G right there. Check, check. It's a good option. Okay, and then the 2 chord, which is going to have that 7th in there. So, look, I'm going to do that one first. So I need an E flat that's going to resolve down to a D. So let's plug in, I have an E flat in the alto part already. So let's plug in the E flat here. And real quick, I'm going to be looking for that E flat to resolve down to a D on the 1 chord, but there's no D in the 1 chord, but I see the D here. So this is a rule where you can carry that E flat over, suspend it, that chordal 7th, E flat right there, and then we're going to eventually resolve it down to the D. And this is a great option because you remember what I said earlier, the D has to resolve up to E flat. And I was kind of already anticipating that happening, but here it is. We've realized the correct voice leading for this part. E flat, chordal 7th, carrying it over E flat in the 1 chord. This is a 1, 6, 4, 5, and then eventually to a 6. E flat goes down to the D. We see that here. And then that D is going to resolve up to the E flat. So this is a really good way to resolve that. All right, so let's go plug in the rest of these notes. I'm going to check off what I just did. I just did the E flat. I just did the D and the E flat. So we're rocking and rolling. This has to be an F. It's the only option. So I'm just going to put the F in there. This one has to be a G. It's the only option left. So I'm going to put that G in there. And I know that because what I did up here in the alto part, that's really setting me up well. And then this one, checked off B flat, D, A flat. So this is going to be an F right there. No other choice. Get my stem right up in there. And then what am I going to do here? I do have a little bit of leeway. I could come down to the E flat. I could go up to the G. I think I'm going to use more of a closed voicing and just come down here to this E flat like that. Because this bass line's going up, oh, you know what? I have to do that because if I went up to the G, I'd have a parallel 5th, B flat, F, C, G. That doesn't work. So I'm just going to go down. And because I followed the bass lines going up, contrary motion coming down, that helped me to resolve and not have the parallel fifth. Would you look at that? 15 minutes on the dot, maybe a few seconds over, and we have got it all done. This is a very good answer, and I think anybody who wrote something like this on the AP test or any sort of FRQ5 would get a really high score. Hope this helped you guys. Catch you later.